ex-offenders, often than not, struggle to make new friends when they come out from prison. And because they cannot find new friends, one of the key reasons is for their reoffending is because they go back to their old circles, right? Who eventually drive them back to their life of crime and drugs. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching. Welcome to this episode of Clean Your Toilet podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm a dad, a community builder, and an avid cyclist. So for myself, I work with people who are rebuilding their lives after prison and also with addiction. Because once upon a time, I myself went through this similar journey and I needed that support myself. So I do this through Break the Cycle, ground up that supports ex-offenders with their reintegration through cycling, mentorship, and a community. With me today is Brenda.
Hi, I'm Brenda. I'm from the Facilitators Project. So what we do, we are a social enterprise to build and to run programs actually for the underserved communities such as shelter homes.
Nice.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you that I can be here as well. A privilege. Yeah. So I think today we're going to talk about something quite interesting. You know, the theme of this season is about stories we don't tell. All right. Because I think in Singapore, for society, we usually reserve the vulnerable side of life. You know, what we go through. We usually just show our success or what we want people to project. So I think it's quite meaningful that we can dive deeper, you know, our respective lives and stories that we want to share. So there's a lot of wisdom and power in stories, like what we're doing today. And even more so in stories that we don't often get the chance to hear. So we use this as a warm-up,
Sure.
right? And questions from, you know, what you're going to do later on. We ask each other, you know, as we spar and dive deep, layer by layer, right?
Okay, sure.
So you mentioned that you are part of a social enterprise that serve the underserved in Singapore, you know, myself too, you know, I also serve the underserved or marginalized. But maybe you can share at the beginning what kind of stories, you know, and you encounter lies or even your own if you have that are difficult to express.
Okay. Maybe I would start off with using education. I think that's something that we start off with what is success, right? I think a lot of people always have the word success, meaning you have maybe in the older times will be all your 5 C's, your 6 C's or whatever C's, right?
Yeah.
So C's will be your cars and your whatever condos, right? Your cash. So that's how the word success to many people. I think in a way there's no right or wrong, yeah, but it's something that we can see, right? Tangible that they can see. I think for me, if I look at success now, I would still say I'm successful. I may not have all the cars, but I still have drivers like your Mercedes-Benz, right? Your buses that is actually Mercedes-Benz. So we do have our transports and our drivers, right? Yeah. So so that's just a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
I think when I first, maybe I'll just share a bit of my stories in terms of what was really my struggle as a child, right?
Okay.
Particularly in the education space. I am technically a O-level student. Why? Because I went into ITE after my O-levels. And surprisingly, I flunked. Yeah. So people will say, flunk your ITE? So back in the old days, you don't quite ITE lah. It's like NIC or, which stands for National Institute of Commerce.
Yeah.
So we do have like study accounting, we study secretary, right? So these are the two modules you can take lah. So I took accounting and like, okay, so I flunked, right? I flunked because I flunked econs. It's like, rubbish, right? I mean, like, I don't know how to write, right? I mean, that was my struggle. And I'm a person who find it very difficult to just study for the sake of studying, right? And there's no passion to do something. So fast forward, I left IT because of not graduating, just because of one subject. I started working. It's good that I managed to get into a bank, a local bank. Yeah, pay is definitely way lesser than most of the other banks. But I guess at that time is, okay lah, I get a job, right? That's what I want to do. And that's it. And I can learn better. So along the way, I tried to, go to take a diploma. Kind of like still on the paper chase. It's like, okay lah, you hear from people, you still have to do a bit of paper chase. Because without paper, even you want to move job is very difficult. I failed econs and I still managed to get in by luck, or you can say by chance. I guess it's the attitude of saying, okay lah, it's a job, I get it done. Right? And I'm blessed that I have a job. Right? So it's even along the way in the financial sector that I've been, people will still look at you in terms of paper qualification. Yeah. Right? And that's what I kind of struggle. Yeah, I tried to go take a diploma. I tried even to take a degree. Yeah. And I actually fought with the admin people fought in a way, yeah, with the admin people. Yeah, because, I flunked one of the subjects and, there was a bit of paperwork and they want me to retake and pay for the fee for applying for exemption. Yeah. I actually went into an argument with them. I was like, you're out there to cheat my money, right? So I'm not saying that it has to be, it's just a process that they need to go through. I think that was my struggle. It's like always trying to do a paper chase, but not knowing at that point, actually, I don't need that paper. All I need is the attitude, the right attitude in terms of how I do my work and to prove it in my own way. I can't prove it through academics. Yeah, but I can do it in other way. And I'm where I am now, right? I mean, I still managed to go into some corporate work, in the finance sector.
Good on you, man.
So that's the biggest struggle. And also when you're a you're not so-called non-degree or, it's how people perceive you lah.
For sure.
Which is sometimes quite tough. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing the context. Of the journey that you've been through. I definitely can relate to a lot of parts of it. But you mentioned something quite interesting about being in the finance sector. Then you saw that not having qualification did put you in a disadvantaged position. How was that seen? In reality, was there an incident that, or what did you observe that made you conclude that qualification? Because I asked that because, I mean, maybe for some of viewers, probably when you say you were NTech and all that, probably that was maybe 30 years ago or something, right? So how was the scene then? What made you have that conclusion? Yeah.
I guess when you're in a job, right, sometimes they kind of like want to promote you, but yet you lack the qualification. So kind of stop them from saying, I don't think this person is qualified. So it's like they recognize you for your hard work, but lack of that one piece, kind of determine that, sorry, you have to wait. Right, you have to serve like maybe 10 years in a company before you can get promoted. That kind of theory. So they'll tell you like, they don't tell you, but they'll ask you, have you ever considered taking a diploma? So that's a signal that you go like, okay, And I would say, for what? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it necessary? Yeah. So that come across in my mind like, for what? What does that mean? Right? Do I need it?
Yeah.
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 So I mean, I don't ask them directly for what, but I only ask, is it necessary? Yeah.
I guess, assuming, right, you probably saw other colleagues or you saw other people in the organization probably getting ahead when maybe you knew that, or you hear that they don't actually work. Or because of qualification, probably they had a head start and also able to climb the ranks, and that also helped to have that conclusion, generally, right?
Kind of,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
kind of. Like, when you have certain qualification, you don't need to do certain things.
Yeah.
But if you are you're of a lower rank, you kind of need to do something that is, I mean, back old days, you have telex roll, right? You roll kind of like telex paper. So when you're a non-grad, they will say like, okay, as a non-grad, you need to like roll your telex paper. Now I'm a grad and then I don't need to roll a telex paper. So that kind of thing actually do happen.
Yeah.
Because of the qualification, so-called. Yeah.
So how do you feel when, you saw
I was in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pissed off lah.
Right.
I'm like totally pissed. Yeah. So I just had to, I didn't really suck it up because I think I was at that point, I don't feel that I need to suck it up anymore. I'll just say, I don't care whether you're a grad.
I mean, for myself, I saw this at play when in national service. Right? That was in the 90s. So it's very clear that the more or higher qualification you get, you are able to climb through the ranks. You can be officer or specialist. Specialist meaning diploma at most. Then only the degree are allowed to be officers. Then you don't have diploma, you O-level or N-level or even don't have, then you only can do cook, driver, despite maybe you have a finesse in the NS life, you can fit the regimental and you're good at combat and all that. But just because of the paper, you can't climb the leadership ranks to lead a team of sorts. So I did saw that at play, and like you, I also felt something not right. It's rewarding based on paper rather than on the person or the human, of what they can contribute. Yeah. So, I mean, that's for me. But I think on the hindsight, I think we probably grew up in the same era of sorts. Same generation, but maybe older. Because at the time, my site didn't have NTech yet. Still VI, Vocational Institute.
Okay.
Yeah. I also didn't agree with the education system for me. Of course, as you said correctly, when I was in school, it all seemed that getting the qualification was the only way to success. If you don't get good grades, you don't climb up the academic ladder, you probably won't make it in life. So that was one factor that didn't sit well with me as a teenager. Yeah, maybe it's my rebellious streak. Yeah, and how the teachers, they compare. They only take care. Back then, maybe the teachers now are much better. They would see the points of the school, the class. If you're not doing too well, then perhaps they ask you, you want to move to another class or...
It's their own KPI.
Yeah, correct. Right. So that was how success was determined, as you said. But I think that was at that generation, at that point of time. I think now it's so much different. And we have open pathway, our new PM also trying to redefine what success is for Singaporeans. And I think people like yourself have made a good example of how success can be different, can be redefined for everybody. It's not just the 5 C's.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not saying that you're not rich. Probably you're rich, but
we are rich in all different ways. Yeah. So rich in life, rich in resources, right?
Correct.
Rich in time. So is there, maybe you can share more about like your journey? How has that also, because you mentioned that you are the rebellious streak, and what are the struggles that you have faced at the same time that you would like to share with us?
For me, I grew up, I was born in the 70s, so I'm a Gen X, Generation X. At the time, I think life was very simple compared to now, Success was pretty uniform, because everybody almost had the same things. Everybody could, compared to now, everybody's different, more polarized than before. So I think I did okay in study. I wasn't really outstanding or what. I was mostly standing outside of class most of the time, but I did okay. I just passed. So I was in the express stream actually. But unfortunately, along the way I dropped out from school. One of the reasons was the experience that I had. That I didn't really believe in that system, that pathway. So I decided to drop out from school during my Sec 4 when I was supposed to take my O-levels. That was one of the reasons. But one of the main reasons was I lost motivation to study. That was back then. Growing up, my family was going through a crisis. My parents had a lot of fights, which eventually led to a divorce. I think growing up, you and I think most kids, our motivation is really to make our parents proud or to seek their approval. So we study, we do our best, Not to say I'm very good or not. I am not, but I study really because I just want to do my part also. So when the family unit sort of disintegrated, I thought, hey, there's no point of studying. Study for what? Since I didn't really like it also. So just give it up. And also at the same time, I was working part-time to earn my own keep, to survive. And I found that working more meaningful. I can quickly earn the money, and that's what happened. For me. I dropped out of school.
And you mentioned that now you're also in the community doing the cycling. What makes you do that? How do it really inspire you to start?
Oh, that one is, it didn't start immediately. It's a long journey, okay. So I dropped out from school. I hang around with a different crowd. Before that I was mostly with the express stream. So study. When I dropped out from school, then no point hanging around with them, right? Because I didn't need to do homework anymore. I needed to pass up, so I don't need to know, how to do my work or studies. So I hang out with different group who played basketball most of the time. After school, go arcade, more fun. Shortly after, I found out that they were part of a gang, and they asked me to join the gang, and which I agreed. So through these gangs that was part of, I think it was quite timely as well, because of what was happening at home. It's kind of lost as well. As a young kid, you are unable to open up emotionally, so you don't know how to process. Also back then, there was no counseling, no peer support like what we have now in the school, right? No outlet. So I would say that the gang at that point of time provided me that outlet, a sense of belonging, identity, and solace in some way. But of course, negative output vices, bad habits, fights, including violating the law, right? So one of it was fights, which landed me in prison for an offense back in 1997 or 96. Yeah. So that was it wasn't my first brush with the law, because previously I was let off the hook and got under probation. But this was the first incarceration. Yeah, but it wasn't also the last. Yeah, so it was a journey. I incarcerated again 3 years later. And only I sort of decided to turn my life around in 2000 when I was 21. So there's a whole journey of rebuilding my life lah. So from 2000 till like 2020, 20 years of rebuilding. And then that's where Break the Cycle started actually. So it's a whole journey. There's a lot.
Is that how the naming convention Break the Cycle came about?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. A play on words,
Okay.
you know. Yeah. Because our mission is to break the cycle of recidivism or reoffending. And we use cycling. So it's a catchy name. Yeah.
It's a very relevant name.
Yeah. But it took 20 years lah. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs and learning, self-awareness. Yeah, to which people don't see lah on that side of things. I think similar to you also. Yeah. How do you end up with, it's called the Facilitators Project, right?
Yeah, TFP.
It was a ground up also, right? I understand, right?
Yeah, we started as a volunteer 10 years ago. Yeah, really want to help. Yeah, more for sheltered homes. Yeah, for children. Started 10 years ago by the two founders. I came in only in the last 3 years. Yeah, being as a volunteer. But in order to sustain as a company itself, because previously the founders were all bootstrapping. So we decided to turn it into a social enterprise this year. Yeah, because we have been building, because all this, we need time. I think time is the biggest factor, right?
Correct.
We want to help to break the cycle, like you say. Similarly, when we do all these social enterprise, it's really to break the cycle of poverty, not just in terms of resource-wise, but the mindset of poverty. Right? We all have a very poverty mindset. Right? We are not rich, we are not good. So these are all very poverty mindset that we all have. And I think, similar to you, we are breaking all these cycles that we hope that we can achieve from that. I think for me, why I so-called jump from a corporate, because I feel that there is a need myself, maybe, not just a need that the society needs, but me as a person, as a human, would want to do it. So that's why I kind of shifted, and go into that space of building that community. Although I've been doing it like as a volunteer, but not with an organization that long. So I tried different ones, different kind of community to see whether how much does it resonate with me and how much can I continue. When I first started, it was just volunteering. And there's only so much time that I can volunteer.
That's right.
And if I decide I want to do more, there's something that I need to be more committed to. So I think that was one of the consideration why I stepped out of my corporate world in a way. I kind of still half step in to be to be there, pay your own bills and stuff like that. Because we just started as a social enterprise. And that's the struggle, being a company and trying to pay yourself.
So before I ask that question, maybe, so how do you help break the cycle of, the underserved? For us, we use cycling. What do you do?
We run programs. So we have different type of programs. We teach literacy, resource literacy rather than the word finance. Because to be literate, it's not just on numbers. Right? Yeah. So those are the program. We run like wellness. We do forest therapy, forest walk. So those are all our trainings that we do. We do it consistently. Yeah, I think the consistency needs to be there. We build the community with them because we have a very strong connection. We run for the same group we serve the same group for the last 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's building that trust along the way. Yeah. And so that they are comfortable with us as well. Yeah. For usually most of the corporates, it's always a one-time and go, right? Homes like this, there's always the sense of being abandoned.
Yeah.
Right. Because you do once and that's it. Sayonara, I'll see you maybe next year again. Right. We look at how do we connect as a community together. Right. By them knowing that we are there for them and they know us that well. Yeah, it's sort of forged that relationship. So you build that relationship over time. Yeah. And the sense of belonging is there. I think that's what is important to run something like that. Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you, it's more than just a program, right? Program doesn't change
Yes,
lives.
because anyone can run a program, right? Any third-party operators, anyone can, right? But how do you stick with it and ensure there's a continue? Sometimes things just don't see it immediate. It takes time, right? When you see them grow, when you see them be able to have to articulate themselves rather than we tell them, right? So then that's where that reward comes. Yeah.
So, how would you describe your community?
How would I describe my community?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. So community to me, maybe it's just people who are really of the same mindset, right? For example, my community will be the people around me, the facilitators, the kids that we help, right? The volunteers sometimes that comes in. And we all have the same purpose that we work towards too. That is my community at this point, right? Of course, we want the community to be bigger, to help each other. Yeah.
You mentioned same purpose. So along the more than 10 years now, a decade, right? What are the challenges in building a community that you have experienced? And how does Facilitators Project do it, to foster that community? Because everybody is strapped for time. They also may come with different purpose also, may not be the same, but how do you all bring that, and nurture and bring alignment?
If you were to look at it, maybe I'll just use like example. For example, if you were to say you want to come and volunteer, right? Then of course we will have to ask and understand, why do you like to volunteer?
Yep.
We need to understand, does it really matters to you, right? And I'm not going to pay you. Are you sure you want to come? I mean, sometimes you have to be very upfront to kind of say it because you're really a volunteer, right?
Yep.
And through experience, sometimes you kind of know, like, okay, maybe. And I think at that point where they are in the program itself together with you, you kind of can see in terms of personality whether they can connect with the community that you serve or the groups that you serve, right? Some are like, no lah, like I cannot do this, I cannot do that. No, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And especially with different people, right? Yeah, like with kids, they tend to scream, they need to shout. And sometimes when they are not, it doesn't resonate with people themselves. They'll go like, okay, enough already, I'm not going to come again, right? So that's how we kind of like assess. Yeah, that's at least one of the way that you can feel. And after a while, I think some of us will have that instinct, right? Can or cannot, right? Can click or cannot click. I think that's how I'll look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you at times your team had to like sort of nicely turn away some volunteers lah. Say that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And usually we won't say that you will be like, we only say that it's only a one time first.
Okay.
So we don't like openly invite, and there's no point to openly invite, right? Yeah. When you're not sure.
Have a trial.
Yeah, it's like a trial session. So that's how we look at it lah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so there's a onboarding, so to speak, to see.
Kind of an onboarding thing, subconsciously. Yeah. Okay. And how about your side? Like, how do you look at community? What is community to you?
I think community, for most, we see and we hear and read, community is quite a loose word these days. Right? Like you got community manager for social media, for example, use the word community. Then you got co-working space, they call it a community as well, right? So it has been watered down to mean numbers of sorts, but I think it's more than just numbers.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have 4-figure, 5-figure community. It means there's relationships or a sense of belonging there or identity.
Yeah.
I like what you said, that there's a sense of belonging. There should be that, I think, a sense of belonging and also purpose. Because without purpose, we are just gathering for the sake of gathering or doing for the sake
it's like having a gossip or kopitiam talking,
don't know
right?
why we are
here. Yeah.
So, we are quite careful who we allow to join in for two reasons. One is we sort of the culture is very important for us, being inclusive, and joining for the right reasons. I mean, if they just want to join, for example, just for cycling, I would tell them there are many cycling groups out there. You can join lah. Where do you stay? I can recommend. But if you say that is part of the main reason is to support the cause, and make new friends. Okay, happy to have you because right understanding. We want contributors. I want people to not just cycle. Yeah, because in our midst we do have people from diverse background, including ex-offenders, and we want the right attitude when it comes to making friends, being inclusive on the road. When we cycle, for example, right? We have this saying, practice as well. We leave no one behind.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a puncture or is slower than you, and you don't care, just go and just go do your own thing. That is not what we stand for. If that's what you want to cycle, you want to be fast, you can find another group who want to go fast. We're not saying that you cannot be fast. Yeah, but we're not for that. So we think this is important because leaving no one behind is not just about the road, it's about life as well. When we do that, we're also very conscious and deliberate about people around us, that we don't leave them behind in society. We also slow down, because in Singapore, we all want to chong, and be chasing progress, right? But sometimes we don't look around and see who's affected. Yeah. So I think that is what we try to use cycling to not just help those we want to help, which are the ex-offenders, but also foster that community spirit, in our cyclists, in our members, yeah.
So I'm just a bit curious when you mentioned, when you have break the cycles, how have cycling actually helped? If you could share, through your journey.
Sure. Yeah, so cycling, I sort of chanced upon it. It was not something that I deliberately going to look for it, and even break the cycle as well. It was not, okay, I want to start a run out, so I pick up cycling. No, it wasn't like that. I never even thought of it. So what happened was, first, I moved to my new home back then, which was at Sengkang area. So of course, Sengkang, Punggol, you see a lot of PCN and all that. So I thought, why not I go cycle lah, see the neighborhood, since got PCN, nice pathways. And I did, right? So it was just a simple bike lah. I just bought from Carousel, hybrid bike, And then I posted online on Facebook, and my old friend saw my post and said, hey, I'm cycling, why not you join me? So I did join, and actually they were all riding like sort of road bikes. And mine was a hybrid bike. So from Sengkang, we rode to Changi village, and then we came back. So that was the first experience riding with them, and I enjoyed it, And I also saw that I couldn't really catch up with them because on my bike. And then I thought, maybe I can try to explore buying a road bike lah, which I did eventually. And that's how I got started. But it wasn't something that I took on very seriously. It was more of a hobby. Meaning, if I got time, I do it. If no time, then I don't do it. And if something crop up, I would just cancel my ride. And just, So it wasn't something that I took it very seriously. So I didn't see any improvement, any benefits from it, except just catch up with my friends. But something happened. I had a health check, and my cholesterol levels was quite high. So the doctor told me that if I don't do something about it, I might have to take medication. Yeah, back then I would say that was about 2019. Yeah, about 2018 I picked up cycling, and then 2017. Then 2019 I had the health check. So I thought to myself, since I'm cycling, why not take it more seriously this time? Yeah, which I did, right? So taking it more seriously means I cycle regularly. I schedule it into my routine. Even if nobody cycle with me, they say they want to cycle, I still went on my own. So I did that like 2 to 3 times a week without fail for 6 months. Then I saw, my cholesterol level went down. I did a check again. There's improvement. And I also felt much rejuvenated. Yeah. I saw the benefits not just on my health, also my mental also. And personal growth also. I had suddenly had more motivation to look forward in life in general. There's something to look forward, aside from work, Yeah, and because you set goals, before that I couldn't even reach 30 kilometers. Then suddenly I can reach 30 kilometers. Then it's about timing. How fast can I reach 30 kilometers? Then you sort of set goals. Then from 30, you go to 60, 60, then 90, 90, then 120. So that goal setting gave me motivation, I saw that I applied some of the principles in my personal life as well. I saw that had spillover effect at work also. Yeah. So that's one thing, that's so personal growth. And then the other thing was, I realized that cycling wasn't just a sport, it was a social activity also. Because as I took up more cycling, I visited different cycling group. I joined, different communities. I met people from all ages and backgrounds. I realized that, wow, actually can open up doors, to make new friends. Which, as we grow older, we get lesser and lesser friends, right? Right? It's a fact, right?
It's a fact.
Yeah, and you don't want to do it in a very
outward way.
like intentional. You're not going dating or and you also don't want to. It's very tiring to make new friends and so you got to spend. But this one is, you just do an activity, you make new friends in a very natural way.
Yeah.
Then if you want to connect further, then you just take a number, or it's very natural. It's not doesn't feel very superficial or anything.
Because it's a common topic.
Yeah,
also,
it's common
right?
interest, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to know the person, then you tell the person, you invite the person to another ride, somewhere else, or go further, or go Malaysia or something like that. So there's ways to build that friendship. Yeah. And then at the same time, I was already quite active in my volunteerism. I use my past to help others also. During the same way to help them rebuild their lives. So I was thinking to myself, this cycling would be a very good platform to reach out to ex-offenders, because ex-offenders often than not struggle to make new friends when they come out from prison. And because they cannot find new friends, one of the key reasons is for their reoffending is because they go back to their old circles, right? Who eventually drive them back to their life of crime and drugs. Yeah, so they get put back. So there's always this social gap. I'm aware that there's always this gap for ex-offenders after prison. They don't have a community. Of course, there are religious groups out there who try to help. They go into prison and they come out, invite them to their activities. But more often than not, they don't want a religious background. They may not have the interest, to convert or, to have that belief. And they may feel out of place. So maybe it feels intimidating, in the setting and all. People who maybe are more, look more perfect. They feel intimidated, inferior, don't fit in, uncomfortable. But cycling, you all wear the same jersey, you all wear, can't tell, that who is who and
There's
what
a sense
background.
of belonging, like you said.
It's less intimidating. Because even if an ex-offender goes in, you don't even know the ex-offender because he's wearing a cycling jersey and beeps and having a bicycle. You just ride only.
Correct.
You don't question. Very hard to size up lah. Yeah. So it's a safe space. And it's also a microism of society because you have people of all walks of life. And then if you can interact, right, then there's no problem for you to reintegrate and interact with mainstream society in some way. Yeah, because in cycling also, aside from the people that you meet, there are certain rules or etiquette that you need to follow. How to ride safely, how to ride responsibly. How you look out for one another. Just like we join a workforce, a new workplace, there are hidden etiquettes or practice that sometimes you do not know the culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it helps you to be more socially aware, and responsible, because maybe as a ex-offender with who the upbringing in life of crime and drugs, they may not think so much, they just do what they want. Living in community is something foreign to them, right? So they learn through a interest, through a cycling.
So it actually builds a community for them where they feel like there's no judgment.
Yeah.
I think that's also very important.
Helps with the confidence and dignity as well.
I mean, through what I'm hearing you, with this deep community with the ex-offenders in this case, right, for example, what exactly, really you would really want to do for them. I think that's also, if you could share. Yeah.
Sure. I think quite similar to what you're trying to do with your community also, is to journey, all right, with your friends who are in poverty or maybe face trauma before, because it's a long haul journey. It's not once off. This is something that I also understand because of my life experience. It's a long journey, and after they come out from prison, and that's what they need actually, but that is what is really sorely lacking out in our society. They might go to work, but they may not find a community there because it's just work, right? They may go to their family, of course. Family support is equally important. But there's some things that they don't share to family, right? Yeah. So the community, friends that they that journey with them are also very, very critical in how they reintegrate, how they see themselves, how they're treated, right? So it's a journey. Like what you said, so a program doesn't actually help. Maybe a program does help, but it's the people in the program that helps.
Yeah.
Right? Because life impacts life, because first of all, we are dealing with people, we're not dealing with products, Yeah. So you can have a system, a program that runs clock perfectly, but effectively, but if the people in the program do not see them as human, connect with them as human beings, then likely they will fall through the cracks again. Because every human wants to feel heard, feel seen, want to be seen, and wants their needs met as well. A voice too.
And now it's time for some ads. So we have a final sponsor, right? And this is actually a very unique social enterprise called Books Beyond Borders. So we both got to meet the founder.
Yes, they started off as a charity and now they're a
Yep,
social
that's right.
enterprise.
And how it all started was when he went on a life-changing trip. Like really, clean a toilet style. He cleaned his life out and he went on a solo trip, one-way ticket.
Wow.
Right? And then he visited Nepal and he got to meet and see the situation there, where a lot of young girls were actually having to trek 3-4 hours just to get to school. And then he came back to Singapore and said, I want to do something. He started to sell secondhand books
Wow.
and move those funds over there to support their education. So it's a pretty amazing story.
Right. Do they sell anything else other than books?
Yeah, they do. So I think once he really got into the ecosystem of the places in Nepal, he realized that actually people that are very talented and they're super hardworking and they have the ability to make different types of crafts, handicrafts, and also like anything from ornaments to maybe like felt journals and everything. Then he had this idea, let's change this charity into a social enterprise, right? And from there, suddenly he had a business model and he started to basically sell these products from Nepal.
Right.
And channel some of the funds back there so that it creates like a virtuous cycle, right? Yeah.
Okay. So it's almost like an organization that can self-sustain but yet at the same time do good
Exactly.
for the people in Nepal.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So actually, Books Beyond Borders actually have a physical store at Maxwell.
That's right.
Right. And then they also have an online store. It's called booksbeyondborders.com.
Yeah.
So they're offering 10% off using the code CYT10 for any items online.
Correct. And the founder has been very, very generous. This offer will actually run all the way to end of March 2026.
Oh, that's very nice of
So
them.
we have the whole first quarter of 2026 to do good. So please get out there and support girls in Nepal who need those funds for their education.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, pick up a book or some kind of a journal or ornament that actually enriches your life in some way or another. Thank you.
Thank you. Now back to the rest of the episode.
So I like to coin this as humanizing reintegration. Because most times when they are inside the system, whether young or old, they are in the system. Yeah. And often they feel that they are not heard or they are not seen because they are treated like a case. They are institutionalized in some way, and that sort of erodes their identity as humans as well. So when they come out, I think what they want to feel is the love, the acceptance, rather than tell them what to do or what's wrong. Most of the time, I think they know what's wrong, what they've done is wrong. But our approach as, I think, humanizing reintegration is not highlighting the behavior. Say, hey, what's wrong with you, But it's about, hey, what's happening to you? What happened that led you to this? There must be something that happened. So it's separating the problem with the human. I think that is something that we try to do, and I believe in as well. So in my small influence or I try to facilitate that you know, and help the community out there, the non-offenders, see ex-offenders differently, you know, because there are certain stereotypes that when they think about ex-offenders or drug abusers, most of the time it's negative. Yeah, they may not see the full picture because our friends could be victims actually, although they are the offenders, but they could be victims in terms of their past upbringing, certain things that happen, their surroundings, the environment that makes them make certain decisions. They're not guided. They may not have the resources that they need. There might be certain disorders that they may be facing, depression of sorts also, we don't know because, and drugs could be the way that they took without knowing, so they get addicted to it. Yeah. So it's looking at the person rather than the problem.
So maybe, Andrew, if you can share maybe one of the struggles that you face when you're in your own journey that maybe you can share with the audience. Yeah. And how do you actually cope with that, or rather come out from that struggle?
Which struggle? Got many struggles.
I mean, any of your story struggle, anything that we would like to share. Yeah.
Okay.
It can be a struggle. Yeah. It could be something that you think you need to really tell the audience why you want to really tell this story. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the truth is, the struggle is always ongoing. I mean, of course, everybody goes through struggles, but for an ex-offender or maybe even a former drug abuser, it's psychological, it's emotional, and also, maybe even medical also in some way. Yeah. It's, we usually think, or the approach for helping ex-offenders is giving them a job and then ensure that they go back to their families, and we think that solves the problem. That is the short term actually. It's not the mid term or long term, right? Because there are a lot of things that baggages maybe they have been through, hurts, disappointment, trauma, that has not been revealed or dealt with, addressed. So they may have a job and all that, but internally they may not have been recovered yet. Yeah. So for me, I think the struggle is, I would say, coming to terms with truth. You see yourself, you own your mess, the ugly side of things. You see yourself for who you are, and owning it in that sense. Yeah. So, I mean, for example, I think the turning point for me is because there are a lot of relapse and falls that I made, along the way. And of course also, initially, it gets harder. But along the way, I said my journey was like 20 over years, right? The initial, maybe first 5 years was difficult because a lot of things was new to me. I had to deny certain things, sacrifice, so to speak, like cut away. Like for example, cut away from my old friends, cut away from my old job, the working environment, without knowing what's ahead. But as you do it more on a frequent basis, you start to see a pattern, and then you also grow stronger. It becomes easier and easier. Yeah. Because you become more self-aware. So, but the turning point for me was when I decided to own my mess, own my mistakes, decisions that I made. I stopped blaming others. Because for a long time, I blame others. I blame my family. I blame the system. I blame the law. I blame everyone except myself. Yeah. So the turning point really was when I stopped blaming other people I own up, took responsibility. Yeah. Because I think that's very important. As the journey you always face challenges and struggles. And it's very easy to blame other people for the falls and all that. But when you take ownership, you learn also about yourself, and then you can make corrections, and then you grow. Yeah. You stop being a victim of the circumstances, which you fall prey to. But when you are self-aware and you know your mistakes and you try to correct them, you rise above the circumstances. Yeah, you don't let the circumstances determine how you live your life and how the ending should be. Right? Yeah. So to me, that was a turning point, and those were the struggles. So is to really own up and to, for example, struggles when you see yourself or then you see, hey, I'm actually a very selfish person. Doesn't sound very nice, yeah. Or ugly truth, like, selfish, you see yourself as selfish, self-centered, you actually nothing, you think you're something, but actually you're nothing. These kind of things, you start to see the real, because maybe you build your own narrative, you think you're somebody, your mask, right? Everybody carry a mask, so you build up this persona, this facade to even you want to show people, but you also lie to yourself indirectly. It's peeling off and finding out who your true self is. Even how ugly it is, but then you realize then you can change. You don't see your real self, then you always be deceiving yourself. Then you think you don't need to change. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I think that's very insightful because you kind of like own up first, right?
Yeah.
I'm imperfect, right? I think that the thing is because a lot of us wants to be perfect. Like I want to be a perfect role. I want to be a perfect person, right? I want to be seen as successful. These are the things that we all want to be, right? And then we always, like you say, we are always in our own denial, right? I think it's similar for me sometimes when I do certain things. I do feel like, no, I'm not like that. Yeah, who say I'm like that? Yeah, no, I'm very good. So that kinds of, like you said, rightly point out, and then we are always in denial. We don't recognize it. We only start all our blaming, right? And to be knowing who you really are, you kind of say like, okay, I'm suck, right? I mean, I went out for a presentation and someone tell me like, oh, you suck in your presentation. I'll go like, got so bad, man. Like that's how you will feel. Then once you recognize that, that's where we all start to improve, right?
Yeah.
I think that actually helps a lot in our own journey itself. And I kind of like when you recognize it, we set our own milestone. Like you said, right? That's how we also start to build ourselves. Same as, how you write your journey in Break the Cycles.
Yeah, if I may add to that also, if you don't see the areas of need, right, or improvements, right, or your ugly side, being vulnerable, since you're talking about being vulnerable, stories and all that, then you won't know where you need help. Right?
Yeah.
You won't ask for help.
Yeah.
You think you have it all together.
True.
So there's a need to always be vulnerable, be human. It helps to be human also. That you're not perfect.
Yeah, and then that's also how you build trust within your own community.
Yeah.
When you're open up, you're vulnerable to the people, within your own community. You grow as a community itself. You grow being a person, and, you help. Indirectly do help others at the same time when you really want to truly help others. So earlier you mentioned about, people, trying to integrate. There's a lot of steps to integrate, right? For example, getting into a job, especially for the ex-offenders, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe you can share a little bit more. Yeah, and then what do you really want to achieve out of it, right? By so-called helping them to break.
Okay. I think ultimately, the outcome that I hope that each ex-offenders who have a past, that they can live their lives in a dignified and also positive manner, where their full potential can be unleashed, you know. Meaning full potential, they also have to embrace their past, see their past as useful, you know, as an asset, not as a liability, you know. But of course, unfortunately, our environment, because of stigmatization, we perceive this as a liability, you know. And then if you are not strong enough, you know, to see it as an asset, it will always be buried. It will always be hidden because of shame or fear, you know. So that is the outcome, you know, how they use their past, develop their full potential, you know. And I hope I can be a example, one of the role models there, you know. I think today we have quite a number of role models out there. Compared to where I was like 20 years ago, there were none, you know. When I wanted to find my way, figure my path, I didn't see any, many, almost none. Most of them would be running a halfway house or a pastor. Yeah. But nothing in the marketplace, you know, having some level of success, so to speak, you know, aside from the normal, usual path. Okay, so that is the outcome. Full potential, positive life after prison. How do we get there?
Yeah.
Right, so of course the short midterm is that they find a job, they go back to families, they lead a stable life, right? But doing that, even that short phase, there's a lot of challenges already. Because they've been in and out of prison, they may have been institutionalized. So on the surface, yeah, short term, you get the job and the housing and the family together, that is one, right? But there's the next phase, the mid. After you stabilize, I think there's an introspective. You need to reflect. Where are the possible triggers or traps that may bring you back, you know, or things that you should address. You know, as I mentioned to you, if you don't own your mess, you won't able to see. Right? But sometimes society is such that we don't dare to talk about our mess. You don't dare to show the mess. Right? So I give you one example, would be like once they get a job, but that may not be the career. It's just a job to get by first.
Yeah.
Right? We now, because of the good support from, for example, Yellow Ribbon projects and awareness, you know, from the government, there are a lot of jobs out there, people willing to hire. But these are jobs, not career.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to have meaningful growth and all that. And that's the next phase, actually. You know, when you discover yourself, understand your strengths, you know, you see that what you have is an asset, not a liability, then you can go on that path of purpose, which is very important for them to look to the future rather than the past. You know, or they get trapped thinking about their life in the back, you know, or being tempted going back. Got something to look forward to. But when they go out, they want to look for a job. There are some challenges. Okay, depending on their qualification also, what sort of jobs. But let's say you want to work, climb in the ladder, become management, you know, leader, or working in the corporate, like what you say, you can go into a finance sector, do administrative work, all sorts. There's always a question in the job application that asks you, have you committed, right?
Yeah, there's a standard question. Yeah.
Record before.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you say yes or no? Yeah. So that is one barrier that dehumanizes an ex-offender. Dehumanizer, because you feel that, hey, walao, I'm being reminded again. I don't feel that, you're asking me about past. And most of the time you tick yes, that's it. They won't call you. You won't get to an interview. Yeah. Or they'll tell you nicely, we're still looking for some, we'll get back to you. But most times they won't get back to you. Okay. Then you know why also. Right. So that could be one. They tick yes, and then it denies them the advancement or opportunity to chase a career of sorts. Another way is they say no, which I believe is most of the time they say no. Because companies can't really check also. Can't check. Yeah, unless
they can't check?
they
I thought they can check.
No, unlike US, you can type in, there's a database where employers can, but I don't think in Singapore you can check. Unless you really take the trouble, you ask the interviewer, I need a certificate from the police to say whether you got, there is something like that. Then you go to SPF, then they will tell you whether you have a crime, then you use it as evidence to prove. Yeah, so they tick no, right, to get the job, which means also they are always in fear, right, in shame.
Yeah.
They cannot come out to use their past like me, say that I want to help others, I want to come out and be an example. They may be doing well, but if they are scared, if they say they get fired, or how people look at them, their colleagues. Yeah, so they never live with their full potential. Yeah, and I think that's a waste. I think that's not a life meant to be lived. Yeah, if you can't come out and just embrace your potential that's also in your past. Yeah, and I think that is not good. So in an economically way, because people don't grow, people just lay low, just do, right? And people is our vital asset in Singapore. Yeah, our capital, and we need to optimize everyone, Yeah,
I think
so
that's really very real. Yeah, in terms of checking the box, right? And if you have that magic wand to check, and what would you think that can make that change?
I know. I mean, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I think it's just society. We are just 60 years old as a society, right? So I think this is a journey of maturing. Give you an example, like before there was the declaration of mental illness also.
Yeah.
They did ask these two questions, mental illness and the criminal record. So I think it was sometime, I can't remember the exact date, or maybe 2016 or 2017, they removed. It was a journey also. People came out to say that this is discrimination, you shouldn't ask people about your mental condition. And it became a policy, from TAFEP. It's a discrimination, you cannot ask. So now all job application never ask you that question.
Just like now, they don't ask people about age, right? I mean, not so much about age, right?
Yes.
I think that's also what has changed, and we hope that it will change.
Yeah.
Right. I think that can, in general, help the job society.
Correct.
I mean, the society itself, right?
Yeah.
And the discrimination and the judgmental that individuals do have, or the society has, lah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also understand from a society point of view, because I see myself as in between, because I'm reintegrated, then I'm also on that side. So I'm like a bridge, middle. That we also have to protect society.
Yeah.
There are certain jobs that quite sensitive, like for example, education. Maybe finance also in some way, right? But it also depends on the offense that you committed.
Correct.
Right?
It's,
So of course, maybe for education, sexual crimes, you want to protect your young. Yeah, you're vulnerable there. Then maybe you ask more specific questions. The crimes that, instead of just a blanket statement, have you committed any criminal record, or been caught before? But rather you ask specific, depending on sector to sector. You tailor-made it, customize it, which rightfully you should, instead of just a blanket, then everybody feels, but of course this takes effort from the HR, the different HR, because this is something has to come up from the ground. Employers must embrace it. See that there's a need. So far, there isn't a collective voice to it. Individuals speaking, like ex-offenders sharing a bit here, but it's never a collective, so there isn't any like push. Yeah, I hope this change. I hope we can slowly see that there's a need to dehumanize the reintegration, and how we see ex-offenders also, and find a solution. To allow them to have that dignity and be part of society to contribute also.
Yeah, true. I'm sure the day will come. Yeah. I think it's very insightful, Andrew. I mean, in terms of what we want to do is to dehumanize, right? Yeah, this whole thing. Maybe before we wrap up, is there something that you would like to share with the audience here?
Sure.
What even one as an individual can do.
Can. I mean, maybe I speak to two groups of people.
Yeah.
One first to the ex-offenders, my fellow peers in some sense. So if you're listening or watching, I want to say, don't limit yourself. Your past does not determine your future. You have the power to write your story. Yeah, don't box yourself up to say that you only deserve certain things because of your past or this is not possible. Challenge the status quo. And in the face of barriers or challenges, know your worth. That there's a lot of potential in you. So don't limit yourself. That's all I want to say. Whatever your dreams are, your goals are, you can achieve it. Yeah. Then to the general public, or even tough app, if you're watching, there's. I hope we see our ex-offenders or former drug abusers as humans also. No one wants to be an addict. There's always a story behind. We don't see the problem, but we see the human, the person. Like, how can we help? What happened? Yeah, so that way we don't judge. You don't close the door on them. Yeah, because their journey to reintegrate is very challenging, very difficult. Yeah, of course they have to take responsibility, but we also as a society have a responsibility to create an environment where they can thrive. Yeah, not just survive. So, yeah. Look at the backstory, don't judge. Do you have anything that you want to also say on your part?
No, I think community sharing, I think in this aspect, it's very strong. I think Singapore do have quite a bit of community. It's just that maybe it's in clusters that we are not aware of. And I strongly believe in the community network because sometimes there are things that we may not be vulnerable enough to share or with certain people within our own boundaries, but with communities with the same mindset, I think that's come out stronger in terms of messaging and in terms of what we really want to work towards too. And that's, we will have to continue to work towards it, and coming together as a larger collective. That's how I feel we can all do as an individual, right? It's never one man standing on the island alone. Yeah,
yes,
we need to build just like our old kampong days. Yeah, maybe I would say, and right, we look after each other.
Yeah, and just to build on your point, and as we close this, right, it's the community that makes you feel safe.
Yes, the community.
You feel accepted, so you can be vulnerable.
Yes, correct. Yes.
If not, you always feel judged, you always feel unaccepted, then you always be trying to fit in, put a mask, and not sharing, and you cannot be true to yourself, your authentic voice.
Yes, correct. Right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Clean Your Toilet podcast. I would say to you, clean the toilet within, your mess that you have inside. Be vulnerable. Accept who you are, even the past. Start your inner work and give your hidden stories a voice.